What is up, good people? Jungle Ink here. Hope you're doing well. This should be a pretty quick video on this lazy Saturday afternoon for me. Just a couple topics I want to cover, some Twitter drama, if you will, but I think important to discuss. And out the gates, we see Brad Garlinghouse saying the following: new quarter, more XRP Ledger transactions, but he's particularly excited about native AMM. And he's right. That was huge. We needed that, and we have it now. He says it's arguably one of the largest updates to the XRP Ledger. I don't think there's any argument there. But you'll remember that interview I did with Daniel before this went live during the whole voting fiasco. What did he tell us? This is important. We're going to get it, but it's not going to set the world on fire day one. Even though a lot of people said he was wrong, that this was going to 589 out the gates. Didn't work out like that. We see scams saying the following: what are your thoughts on the poor performance of AMMs, low liquidity and volume? And he's right. You know, there's not a ton of transactions on there right now, not a lot of volume. People aren't rushing to these pools to throw their crypto assets in there. My buddy Francisco from the Making Money group, he brought up a good point. He's like, what's the one thing we are missing here, really, to have effective AMMs? Well, it's a great stable coin. The XRP Ledger does have stable coins, but not a really good one. Not one that people want to really hold and use. And so I think once we get stable coins on here, it makes AMMs that much more attractive and usable. And again, we're doing a lot of updates here. This is going to be a drastically different ledger as you get, 12 months out and farther. We're looking at oracles for on-chain price data and bridging and a lot of different stuff that they're trying to work through. We're playing a little bit of catch up, but we're going to get there with those features here. And this is not to be a surprise that it's not gangbusters from day one. It's going to take some time, but make no mistake, don't write off AMMs. We needed that update, we got it, and now it's on to the next thing. And this will continue to build and I think pay dividends down the road. This is so important, but again, it's one step in a line of steps we have to take to really bring the XRP Ledger up to the modern era. Now, Dr. Huber, he's been going after me a little bit. This isn't directed at me specifically, but he's saying, look, even Bitcoin has a code of conduct. And there's been this whole squabble on Twitter about, Ripple having a code of conduct for their grant program, and if that's correct or not. Dr. Huber also posts the code of conduct for Ethereum and pretty much every other blockchain out there. Look, every business is going to have something like this. Ripple can't just fund anything. Someone's conduct makes their business look bad. It's just common sense as a business. But this is my issue. We talk about no incentive is the best incentive. Well, really, it's all of the incentive is slanted towards Ripple. They have, all of the XRP essentially. They have a lot of control of many things out there because he who has the gold rules. And so I think this is somewhat problematic. And we see this playing out in the fact of, what did Coinbase just do? They just launched an Ethereum Layer 2 base, and they're making $30 million a month. What's the most successful builder on the XRP Ledger? Well, it's XRP Labs. I don't know how much money they're bringing in, but I don't think it's $30 million a month in their third month of business. Like, we have to see more success from people other than Ripple. Can't just be Brad Garlinghouse with new mansions. It can't just be Chris Larson speeding around in his high-end Porsches, things like this. And it'll be better for everyone, including Ripple, if we see more builders coming here. I want to see Uphold build on the ledger, do a side chain, do some sort of service, on-chain service, whatever. Kraken, Coinbase themselves. Like, we have to ask, why don't we have like a Tether that's making $4 billion a quarter in profits by running a stable coin? Why does Ripple have to jump in here and do it? What is the problem here? And part of it's the features, and they're taking care of that. And for a long time, people told us, oh, we don't need AMMs, we don't need this, we don't need that. And you see what's happening. In a hurry, they're getting this ledger ready from a feature perspective to compete within DeFi. We needed it, we're getting it. But I think really the reward mechanisms, the value of the XRP Ledger, we need to think of this network setup a little bit, because it's not going to be appropriate for Ripple to have to give grants and have to keep people fed and keep them operational by continuing to gift them money. That's not a good thing. I'm not talking about that. And it's further not good that, them being that gatekeeper of all the resources, where what if someone had a really great deal for payments and they might be competitive to Ripple? We want that. We want people jumping in here and using the ledger. Are they going to fund that? Of course they're not. Or maybe someone's actions don't meet their code of conduct standards. Doesn't mean they're wrong. Doesn't mean that they're not going to bring value. We need to have a more sensible outlay here. And it's not about Ripple gifting people stuff. It's about having a better setup so other people can be successful on their own right. And, we have other builders that have Miami mansions and $2 million supercars. And you know what? From that, Ripple will get even more. And we'll see even more value in XRP. And this could be as simple as things like, when you look at other blockchains, if someone's running infrastructure and you want to leverage that for commercial purposes, you got to pay them. And then you have to decide, do I want to pay Weezy Win for using his validator, or do I want to spend the money to launch my own and maybe charge other people and recoup some of that investment, right? And that incentivizes building and scaling and things like this. And we're just missing this within this blockchain. And so I think the features are really underway, and that's good, but we really need to think about the network layout here and how we can make sure that the Coinbases and the Krakens and the BlackRocks want to launch systems either on the XRP Ledger or as a side chain. And it's no longer an excuse that it's just regulatory clarity, because we have the most of it. A judge says XRP is not a security and everyone else within crypto is having issues right now. That's not the excuse any longer. We need to think about this, and really, it's not about Ripple giving away its escrow. It's about setting this up in a smarter way so even they can be more successful, in my opinion. Let me know down below what you think about that, though. Is everything perfect the way it is right now, or could we use some improvement? And so that's my point. Not that, of course, Ripple has a code of conduct. Every business does. I just think that, coupled with the fact that they are, supreme ruler of the XRP Ledger, and not functionality is decentralized, but in terms of all the incentive is their incentive and their profit, I think that's problematic for long-term building. I put out these a couple things I did directly from the command prompt to the XRP Ledger. Here I was streaming some little messages to Ripple, telling them let it breathe from Jungle Link, and it just, I stopped it. I'm not doing it any longer, but I was just streaming these little memos to them. And I minted an NFT. Here I am trying to tell Chris Larson how to run a global enterprise, billions and billions of dollars in worth, and I can't even spell breathe correctly. But anyway, I minted this directly from my computer. I didn't use like a service or anything like that. And of course, I'm using AI. And so what I want to know is, are you interested in these little projects where maybe you could see how it works and do stuff on your own and kind of learn more about the ledger and how it functions from a command prompt, a terminal kind of base layer where you're not having to rely on Wind or some NFT platform, and you really learn a lot more about the network, and you don't have to have any coding experience because AI can hold your hand along the process. Not saying you're going to be able to build an app that people can, put their money in and trust, and you're not all of a sudden a developer, but you can do some fun things and kind of learn more about the underlying capability of the blockchain and how things work. If you're interested in that, let me know, and we'll start doing little weekly projects to try to learn more about the ledger and how we can leverage AI to do this kind of stuff. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.